He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
So you know how the strategy is to overwhelm us so we're not paying attention to the real dangerous things that they're doing, mostly along the lines of implementing Project 2025? Well, there's another dangerous thing that they're doing, and I don't think we're paying attention to it. So Netflix is really close to purchasing Warner Brothers. The deal is almost done. And Donald Trump and his right-wing billionaire friends are frantically trying to stop it. The Ellison clan, the white Christian nationalists who already purchased Paramount, who already purchased CBS, who are trying to purchase CNN, who purchased Skydance. This is all part of the move of one of the 7 pillars of having evangelicalism take over different parts of our life. Taking over news and entertainment is one of the 7 pillars. They are well on their way. So why are they trying to, at the last minute, hijack this purchase and have the Ellison clan purchase Warner Brothers out from under Netflix? Because it stops their plan to fully implement Project 2025. You see, Warner Brothers donates 70% to Democratic candidates. Netflix, 100%. Netflix, in purchasing Warner Brothers, would become such a large force to be reckoned with that it would completely interrupt the complete takeover of Christian white nationalism into that whole part of our lives. So this is happening, just so you know.
Control the message, control the people. Professor Poutine here. Time for Mysteries Histories. When Hitler comes into power in 1933, he moves quickly to take control over 2 key ways in which information is spread to the German people to further his propaganda mission. First is the Department of Education. So by 1934, all teachers, all principals have to be members of the Nazi Party in order to be able to keep their jobs. And the curriculum, in particular the history curriculum, is rewritten to focus on the greatness of the German past, to focus on Germany's role in the future of Europe as the Aryan race, and of course the dangers faced by the German people posed by the Untermensch, the Sinti, the Roma, the Jews, etc. All this is to indoctrinate the next generation of German soldiers and sailors and scientists. As well, the entire media industry is taken over. In 1933, propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels takes control of daily newspapers, so all independent newspapers are shut down and replaced by Nazi papers like Völkischer Beobachter and Der Stürmer. The entire film industry is taken over by 1934, so all actors, directors, screenwriters, producers have to be members of the Nazi Party. Goebbels controls all the scripts and the films that are made to make sure that they conform with Nazi propaganda. And, of course, the people get what's called the Volksempfänger, which is the people's receiver, a radio given to the German people to allow Hitler, if need be, 24-hour-a-day access into every nook and cranny of every home in Germany to spread his propaganda. Well, in 2025, the United States is following right along with that playbook. So as you know, the Department of Education has been shut down, and many Republican states are now shifting to history curriculum written by the Heritage Foundation or by Turning Point America, with such gems in there as slavery wasn't all that bad since slaves learned a skill. The American Civil War and the American Revolution weren't fought over slavery or money. They were fought over freedom. White Christians civilized the savages of the Western world, as we got from J.D. Vance with his ending child slavery BS. And of course, that the United States is the greatest country in the world, ever has been, ever will be, and won World War I and World War II. On top of that, you may have heard that Warner Brothers is currently for sale, one of the biggest movie industries and media conglomerates in the world. Well, there are 2 competing bids for that. One is Netflix, which may not make it through because of American antitrust laws, and the other is Paramount, trying to buy Warner Brothers. But the money behind that bid, who's actually backing that, is the Saudi group, Qatar, and the Trump Organization. So if that bid goes through, and of course the FCC gets to decide on which bid is legal and which one isn't, Donald Trump's family will control the world's largest movie studio, as well as all the other agencies owned by Warner Brothers, including CNN. Control the message, control the people.
Here's a video of Bernie Sanders 21 years ago explaining how the Republicans win, even though no one likes their actual policies.
If you are the Republican leadership, and this is what your goals are to give huge tax breaks to the very richest people in this country. Your goals are ultimately to privatize Social Security so that Wall Street can make money from that. Privatize Medicare so the insurance companies can make more money. Privatize education. Do away with public schools. Now, if you had an agenda like that and you went before the American people, tax breaks for the rich, destruction of Medicare, destruction of Social Security as we know it, lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it, how many votes do you think you'd get? Not a whole lot. Maybe the richest 1% would vote for you. But that's not a lot of votes. So what do? Got a problem. You package it. How do you package it? And here I want you to pay attention to me. Because this is bad stuff. What you do is divide people up. Divide people up by races. Affirmative action becomes one issue. All them black people are getting the jobs that we white people used to have. Split people, working class, white against black. Instead of working together to create decent jobs for all. Those uppity women now, they want the right to choose. We'll split people on the abortion issue. We'll split people up on the gun issue. We'll split people up on religious issues. You follow what I'm saying? So you split people up, and then they end up, if you're a middle-class person, voting against your own interests, and the rich go laughing all the way to the bank.
The Uneducated States of America, coming now. Welcome to part 1 + 1 = 3 of our series, Project 2025, How Democracy Dies. And make sure you follow, because Trump has implemented about half of Project 2025, and we're gonna recap all the fresh hell he's unleashed. Think of it as a Spotify Wrapped for Gilead, starting with
America does not need a federal Department of Education.
Damn, they love a wrecking ball. Now, this does two things. Gives states more control over the curriculum, more on that in a sec, and reallocates funds to other agencies, crucially the Department of Labor, which seems so blatant, right? Who needs critical thinking? Just be good little worker bees for corporate America. More on corporate corruption in part 2. Or don't work at all, ladies. The chick who wrote Project 2025's education chapter wants to raise the married birth rate. Because, you know, instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic, they want students young, dumb, and full of cum. They reclassified professional degrees that are female-dominated, like nursing, teaching, and social work.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
It means school for these jobs will cost more, telling women, you know your place. Back to the states was Project 2025's top goal for education. And they've got multiple replacements for the DOE, including PragerU, a right-wing YouTube channel approved in 9 states that teaches kids lessons like
being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
Project 2025's authors, the Heritage Foundation, is rolling out Project K-12 in Florida and creating Turning Point USA chapters at high schools so students can skip STEM and spend more time on the new regime-approved Pledge of Allegiance.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flag.
Maybe ignorance is bliss.
Also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries.
In the past 3 months, the Canadian economy has created a total of 181,000 jobs.
I didn't say shithole, you did.
The unemployment rate, the national unemployment rate has fallen from 7.1% to 6.5%.
And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships.
And crucially, average wages for Canadians have grown faster than inflation every month of this year.
the party of law and order. Professor Poutine here, time for Mysteries Histories. Let's have a look at some of the pardons and commutations Donald Trump has issued since he came into office. See if we can find a connection. January 20th, he issued pardons for 1,500 January 6th insurrectionists who had stormed the Capitol on January 6th to try to overthrow the 2020 election. Also on January 20th, he issued clemency to 2 D.C. police officers who had been found guilty of killing a black motorist and then tried to cover it up. January 21st, he issued clemency to Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht, who had been found guilty of drug trafficking, money laundering, and computer hacking. January 23rd, he issued pardons for 23 people who had been found guilty of either threatening or attacking abortion clinics. February the 10th, he pardoned former governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, who had been found guilty of corruption. March the 11th, he pardoned former Tennessee statesman Brian Kelsey, who had been found guilty of violating campaign finance laws. March the 26th, he pardoned Devin Archer, who had been found guilty of fraud. March 28th, he pardoned the Nikola Corporation founder, Trevor Milton, who had defrauded his investors. Also on March 28th, he pardoned the BitMEX founders, Arthur Hayes, Ben Dilo, and Sam Reed, all found guilty of money laundering. April the 2nd, he dropped corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, probably in exchange for Adams allowing ICE onto the streets of New York. April the 3rd, he dropped bribery charge against 2 American executives who had been investigated for giving a bribe to Indian officials in exchange for government contracts. May the 28th, he pardoned former Representatives Michael Grimm from New York, found guilty of tax fraud, and John Rowland from Connecticut, found guilty of corruption. September the 22nd, just dropped the investigation into border czar Tom Homan's acceptance of $50,000 in cash in a bag, arguably in exchange for access to government contracts. October the 17th, he commuted the sentence of George Santos, serial liar, and found guilty of fraud and identity theft. October 26th, he pardoned Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, who had been convicted of money laundering. And to bring us full circle, on November the 10th, he pardoned Rudy Giuliani and dozens of others who had helped him try and steal the 2020 election. Now, these are just the dodgy pardons and commutations. If you can stomach it, go on to Legal Eagle's YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below. There is a 43-minute video of all the dodgy things that the Donald Trump administration has done since January 20th. Get some popcorn and settle in. It's an insane ride. Now, I guess all of this just goes to show that the old saying is absolutely true. With friends like Donald Trump, you'll probably need a pardon at some point in the future. Consider yourself updated.
So I decided to make you my own year-end playlist. It's the top 10 pardons that have kept me awake at night this year. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Number 10. If I'm being honest, I have to start with Biden's preemptive pardons on his way out the door in January. Those were not necessary, and they laid the groundwork for Trump's abuse of the pardon power. Number 9. I'm going in chronological order. Just hours after Biden's last pardons, Trump pardoned all of the January 6 rioters, even the ones who beat police officers. That day, January 20th, was the low point in my career as pardon attorney, even worse than the day I was fired. Number 8. Terrence Sutton and Andrew Zabowski. These are 2 D.C. police officers convicted of killing a young man named Karan Hilton. Trump pardoned them just days after the January 6 pardons in a twisted attempt to get cops back on his side. Number 7, Trevor Milton, a Trump donor and wannabe billionaire who bilked his investors out of nearly $700,000. The pardon wiped out his obligation to pay those people back. Number 6, Michelle Fiore, an elected official in Nevada who stole money from a police memorial fund and spent it on plastic surgery. Thanks to the pardon, she gets to keep the money and she won't go to jail. Number 5, Paul Walsack. This guy's mommy literally bought him a pardon. It cost her $1 million, a small sum actually compared to the $11 million Paul stole by skimming from his employees' paychecks. Number 4, Cade Cawthorn. This guy harassed and stalked young interns, sent racist messages, and used drugs in his office when he was chief of staff to the Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives. He did nothing to deserve a pardon. Number 3, members of Congress. Trump has pardoned 3 of them this year, including Henry Cuellar, a Democrat, and of course, George Santos. These pardons are normalizing public corruption. Number 2, Changpeng Zhao, one of the richest men on earth. His cryptocurrency platform funded terrorism and criminal activity around the world. Zhao was pardoned after he brokered a deal that put $2 billion into the pockets of the Trump family. Finally, number 1, Juan Orlando Hernandez, an international drug boss and former president of Honduras who flooded the United States with hundreds of tons of cocaine. Trump freed him literally as he's blowing boats out of water to stop drug trafficking. It's an absolute travesty. And there you have it, my 2025 pardon playlist wrapped.
This photo is going to haunt Donald Trump and the Republicans in 2026. It's a food bank in small town Kentucky in a deep red district. And the person who uploaded this photo said they've never seen the line so long. They said, "I've always went here when things were bad. This year our family could not afford anything nice for Christmas dinner, so we turned to a local church food bank. I've never seen the line so long. This is 4 times the size of every previous year. We've only been to this one 4 times since 2017, but this year the line wraps around the building a second time to the left behind those rows of cars. Everyone is freezing, and an older lady in the line had to be taken inside because she looked like she was about to pass out from being too cold and shivering." If this is a sign that America isn't doing well, I don't know what is. I'm in a small town in Kentucky with a population of less than 4,800 people. Literally 10% or more of the county is here. This is insane. Notice how you only see these long lines at food banks when Donald Trump is president. This has been an ongoing thing during his second term. Trump and his economic policies and, of course, his tariffs have made everything more expensive and completely unaffordable. And
You're not gonna believe this shit. Here's your latest unhinged headlines. First up, on Friday, Dumpy finally got his Peace Prize. A new one. From FIFA.
A beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go. I'm gonna wear it right now. Okay.
What'd JD get? Some honorary knee pads? And let's not forget Schittler shoutouts.
We've had a tremendous working relationship with Canada.
Yeah? Because the night before the national security strategy dropped, which legitimizes Dumpy's threats to make Canada either the 51st state or a vassal state, which is a fun medieval term meaning we'd become the US's bitch. But we're never gonna woof. Next, on Friday, the Pentagon awarded a $620 million contract to Dumpy Jr.'s new startup, which mines for magnets by snorting rare earth through a rolled up bill.
Nobody knows what a magnet is.
And not only is this the largest government contract ever awarded by the Pentagon, it's also Juicy Jr.'s 4th government contract this year.
Who really gives a crap about law?
Next, Fat Satan has removed Juneteenth and Martin Luther King Day as free admission days to national parks and added his birthday. In case you want to wear a party hat before you jump off a cliff. And finally, evil Machiavellian surveillance company, Palantir, is launching a new neurodivergent fellowship, which is not a diversity program, but it is. After this video of their CEO, Alex Karp, went viral.
When we began talking, annoying each other 10 years ago, hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago, or more, when I made you know this.
I know that he looks absolutely tooted. How do you win the fellowship? First one to grind a molar off? Follow for more unhinged headlines.
Anthony?
Yeah.
What do you think about the Supreme Court agreeing to review birthright citizenship?
Well, I don't think they would have agreed to take the case if they didn't intend to gut birthright citizenship in the first place.
What is the case about?
Well, the core of this case is the 14th Amendment, which states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are United States citizens. The Trump administration, which brought forth this case, is arguing that children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants or tourists are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof and therefore do not qualify for citizenship. A lot of their reasoning for this is deeply rooted in historical and systemic oppression in the U.S., which Tad Stormer goes into in great detail in his latest post. But even on the surface level, this idea is patently ridiculous in my opinion. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof basically means subject to the laws of, and to argue that somebody is not subject to the laws of the United States just because their parents are not residents or citizens of the U.S. leads to all sorts of interesting problems which could potentially arise where someone could commit a crime in the U.S. and not be able to be charged for that crime or tried in court because they're not subject to its laws. Not that the Trump administration cares for consistency of laws anyways, but they still are figuring that this part of the 14th Amendment is easier to challenge than the born-in part of the 14th Amendment.
Donald Trump knew that I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that, and she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me, so I wore that wig, and Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter. The reason I'm coming out now is when it happened originally, I just wanted to forget about the whole incident. And when I saw that he was running for president, I felt it was my responsibility to come out and tell our country what kind of man this person is.
Hello, I'm Treasury Secretary Scott Besson. Due to this period of adjustment, we are bailing out American farmers for $12 billion. Hello, I'm America's farmers. Most of this bailout money will be devoured by corporate farm monopolies. Meanwhile, farm bankruptcies are up 60%. Excuse me, President Trump has secured massive victories for farmers, like getting China to commit to purchasing 12 billion tons of soybeans. China usually buys more than double that, but due to your trade war, they already filled their silos with Argentina's beans, who you bailed out for $20 billion. Do you have any idea what you're doing? No.
God, I love Lisa Kudrow. Enjoy this, people.
The whole impeachment thing was baseless, okay? So the Democrats claim that Trump pressured Ukraine into digging up dirt on the Biden family, and their only real evidence of that is a transcript of him doing it.
So what did he say on the transcript?
What transcript?
Well, you just mentioned a transcript.
Check your tape. I said no such thing.
You said the only real evidence was a transcript of Trump pressurizing Ukraine.
There's no such place as Ukraine.
Yes, there is.
I choose to believe there is not.
In March, the president said the pandemic would simply go away, didn't he?
Okay, see, this is what the media does. You lie, fabricate, fantasize. The president never said that.
It will go away. Just stay calm. And we want to protect your shipping industry.
Okay, I know this doesn't fit with your agenda, but this never happened.
I used to tell, a lot of these tyrants when I would visit with them as president, that they needed to have a free press. And I would point to our country as an example where, power doesn't make you immune to criticism or to corruption investigations. And so, I'm a big believer in the free press, just like I'm a big believer in free religion. You can worship or not worship, and you're equally American. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you worship or who you worship.
Children will be taught to love America. Children will be taught to be patriots. Children will be taught civic values for schools that want federal taxpayer funding. So as we close the Department of Education and we provide funding to states.
What are your thoughts on abortion?
On abortion? I'm pro-life, so.
Pro-life? And if there could be more gun control that could save children's lives, would you want to pass that gun control?
How would that save children's lives?
The mass shootings, guns. Guns is the leading cause of death for children in America.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It is. It is.
No, it's not.
Guns, it's the leading cause of death for children in America.
Okay, but that's... Thank you. Okay.
Now, the most serious corruption of American foreign policy ever is being talked about inside the Trump administration. It's being described as a peace plan to end the Russian war in Ukraine. But if you look at the details, it has nothing to do with peace. It is a business deal to make the people around Donald Trump rich. It's just corruption through and through. Let me tell you the story. According to the Wall Street Journal, last month, Vladimir Putin sent the head of his sovereign wealth fund to negotiate an end to the Ukraine war with Steve Witkoff, who is one of Trump's billionaire buddies, also one of his national security advisors. They met in Miami Beach. Jared Kushner was there too. Putin didn't send his foreign minister, and this is important. He sent his business deals guy, the guy who controls the billions of money that are produced by Russia's oil operations. Why do you do that? Because he knows that the way you get Trump's people to agree to sell out Ukraine is to offer up a deal to make Trump's billionaire friends even richer. Here's some of the examples. ExxonMobil right now is in secret discussions with Rosneft, that's Russia's largest state energy company, about a massive gas project in Russia's Far East, something that can only happen if the war is over and sanctions on the company are lifted. Rich Trump donors are right now trying to get in on the action as well. One donor just recently paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to a lobbyist that's really close to Trump's inner circle to try to buy the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. That's a Russian gas pipeline. Once again, something that is only possible for these investors to get rich on if the war is over and the U.S. lifts its sanctions. Another close Trump associate is in talks about acquiring a stake in a Russian Arctic gas project. So that's what Trump's billionaire friends get. But what does Ukraine get? Nothing. Nothing. This deal sells out Ukraine. In fact, this deal would require Ukraine to give to Russia territory that Russia doesn't even currently control. It provides amnesty for all of the war crimes that Putin has committed. It creates no real security guarantees for Ukraine moving forward. This peace deal is a disaster for Ukraine.
Stop scrolling and listen to me, because what happened at the Supreme Court today is not noise. It is one of the most serious constitutional moments we have seen in our lifetime, and most people scrolling their phones have no idea what just crossed that bench, because today the court heard a case about whether the president should have the power to fire the heads of our independent watchdog agencies whenever he wants, for any reason, with no limits from Congress. I'm talking about the FTC, the Federal Reserve, the NLRB, the agencies that are supposed to stay steady no matter who's in the Oval Office. Well, for 90 years, the rule has been simple. The president cannot fire these officials unless Congress allows it, and only for cause, meaning real misconduct, not political disagreement. Congress built these protections to keep watchdogs from being punished for doing their job. But today, the administration told the court, overturn that rule. Erase the guardrails. Give the president full firing power over all of them. And y'all, this is a structural shift in government, and the justices did not pretend otherwise. Justice Sotomayor said, you are asking us to destroy the structure of government. Justice Kagan warned it would hand the president massive unchecked, uncontrolled power. Justice Jackson asked, why the president should control everything when Congress created these agencies to protect the people from political pressure. And here's what this case is really about. Independent agencies were designed to be steady, to protect consumers, to regulate markets, apply the law fairly, and keep the economy stable without political interference. If their leaders can be fired instantly, they are no longer independent. They become political extensions of whoever is in power.
Just declared political war against Europe and is now openly plotting regime change across the continent, and more people need to be talking about it. It all started when the US released its new national security strategy just a few days ago, and the contents of it are genuinely shocking. The document claims that Europe faces civilizational erasure within the next 20 years because of migration and EU integration, language that mirrors far-right conspiracy theories like the Great Replacement. But here's the thing that stunned European leaders the most. The strategy says that the US must cultivate resistance inside Europe to counter its current trajectory. In plain English, it means that Trump is actively planning to interfere in European politics, specifically by helping far-right nationalist parties to win power. This is no longer speculation, it's written in black and white and is now a core part of US policy. Now, European leaders already knew that Trump disliked the EU and they didn't see eye to eye on many issues. But for the US to come out and declare that it will actively undermine Europe's political system, that is a level of hostility that we've never seen before. And the one country who benefits the most from this is Russia, because Moscow...
This combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces.
Well, there's a bloated, inefficient, bureaucratic mass run by a mediocre soldier, quasi-general ass, a diabolical office of death and waste run by a weekend anchor with a desperate rage. It's a big black hole, $1 trillion deep, funneling money to the Pentagon welfare queens. You got your Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Bowen, Northrop Grumman, and the list keeps going. Now a government contract keeps the salary high. The inequality low, the competition light. If Doge looked funny, what'd you expect? Elon was getting a check for the old SpaceX. They're making tanks and guns, software to spy. You know, a Tomahawk missile's just the Werther's original of an empire in decline. Murdering people from a distance with a Hellfire rocket. $250,000 a pop out of the people's pocket. Folks back home are sick, getting sicker. Hey Pete, just bomb the poor in the South, it'd be a whole lot quicker. If you're feeling inadequate, a little bit small, give your big boy order, kill 'em all, kill 'em all. The DOD, the DOW, you can call it whatever you want. War is a racket, no matter how you stack it, making treasure and gold out of poor man's blood. Revolving doors, campaign contributions, writing congressman checks for policy influence. If you lose your seat, but it don't get blue, the lobby that botches got an office for you. They appeal to your morals, appeal to your fear. They say folks far away are a threat to you here. There's a malignant tumor in our nation's guts. Our own Department of Defense is a threat to us. The DOD, the DOW, you can call it whatever you want. War is a racket, no matter how you stack it, making treasure and gold out of poor man's blood.
Yesterday on social media, you posted these additional comments on the topic from the Secretary himself. Let's listen.
He says big, blustery things that people want to hear, but he goes way too far. And then when the military says, we won't follow illegal orders like torture or killing families, which is not loosening the rules of engagement, he suddenly realizes, wait, I might actually be commander-in-chief. And the problem here is that voters don't know whether you get the bluster Trump, or you, which is the armchair tough guy, or you get the one who walks it back on a statement now and says, no, I'll follow the law. The military's not going to follow illegal orders. And so the Trump campaign was forced to change their position and say, we're going to try to change the law so that the military can operate within the law. That's a tall order also.
I've been a little obsessed with this photo of Trump in the Oval Office lately because of all these gold things. No, not that gold thing. No, not those gold things. I'm talking about these gold things here, sitting on his desk. That's a literal gold bar and a golden Rolex desk clock that were given to him by Swiss business leaders who came to the White House for one reason. They wanted to get lower tariffs. Like many other countries, Trump put a 39% tariff on Swiss imports, which hurts their businesses and raises costs for Americans. And like many other countries, the Swiss quickly realized that the best strategy wasn't to negotiate, it's through bribes and flattery. So they came to the White House with flowery words, a $130,000 gold bar, and a gold Rolex desk clock. And you know what? The strategy totally worked. Shortly after, Trump lowered tariffs on Switzerland from 39% to 15%. This is becoming something of a trend in the Trump government. Like when Tim Cook from Apple came to the White House to meet with Trump and give him this gold thing, and shortly after, Trump announced an exemption on tariffs on smartphones and computers, saving Apple billions of dollars. Or like when the United Arab Emirates agreed to invest $2 billion in the Trump family crypto business, World Liberty Financial, which directly enriches Donald Trump, and in exchange, they were given access to the United States' most advanced AI computer chips. It's pay to play. This is how the Trump White House works now. Trade policy doesn't have anything to do with the economy or making our lives better. He just creates a crisis, waits for a bribe, fixes the problem, and then pats himself on the back for making a deal. It's a great way to enrich himself and collect a lot of fancy trinkets. Meanwhile, the cost of living is out of control. Food prices continue to rise, all thanks to the crisis that he created.
In 1942, there were 110,000 Japanese American citizens and good standing, law-abiding people who were thrown into internment camps simply because their parents were born in the wrong country. That's all they did wrong. They had no right to a lawyer, no right to a fair trial, no right to a jury of their peers, no right to due process of any kind. The only right they had, right this way, into the internment camps. Just when these American citizens needed their rights the most, their government took them away. And rights aren't rights if someone can take them away. They're privileges. That's all we've ever had in this country is a bill of temporary privileges. And if you read the news even badly, you know that every year the list gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Sooner or later, the people in this country are going to realize the government does not give a fuck about them. Government doesn't care about you or your children or your rights or your welfare or your safety. It simply doesn't give a fuck about you. It's interested in its own power. That's the only thing, keeping it and expanding it wherever possible.
We have some big news right now. The Trump administration may soon require any foreign tourists coming to the United States of America to disclose 5 years of social media history. Yes, this is real. A new proposal put forth on the Federal Register by the Customs and Border Patrol, according to NBC News, plans to require all foreign tourists that are trying to enter the United States of America to provide mandatory new data to the United States. And it's regardless of whether or not they're coming in from countries that require visas. These include residents from the United Kingdom, Germany, and elsewhere. In addition to 5 years of your social media history, you're going to have to provide email addresses, telephone numbers in the last 5 years, the addresses and names of your family members. By the way, this is coming just months before, actually, before the World Cup next year, and then a couple years before the Olympics in 2 years. So it's setting the stage for everyone coming for the World Cup and the Olympics to have to provide all your social media data for the past 5 years and your addresses and family members and more. Now, the public has 60 days to comment on this proposal. So we'll see what happens. Spread the word. Follow.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with the healthcare subsidies?
Well, in a frankly shocking turn of events, the Republican-controlled House and Senate voted against the interests of their constituents and did not extend healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans.
Shocking.
We have a major news report right now. According to Reuters, Trump administration officials are terrified about possibly being prosecuted and targeted by the International Criminal Court. And the Trump administration is now placing significant pressure on the ICC to amend the Rome Statute to give Donald Trump immunity, along with other top Trump officials. Specifically, the administration, according to Reuters, wants the ICC to amend the Rome Statute, which is what it was founded on, to explicitly bar all investigations or prosecutions of Donald Trump and his top officials. Remember, Trump has immunity under this Supreme Court in the United States. He doesn't have immunity in the ICC. And while the
You're not gonna believe this shit. Here's your latest unhinged headlines. First up, Venezuela is accusing the US of piracy after American forces seized one of their sanctioned oil tankers, footage of which Pam Bondi quickly declassified. Look at him go. But piracy?
Well, what happens to the oil on this ship? Well, we keep it, I guess.
You guess? Okay, piracy. And where's this massive oil tanker going?
Follow the tanker.
Do you know where
it's going? Follow it. Get a helicopter and follow the tanker.
Just gotta, okay. I'll get right. Do you know any other fat guys with choppers?
Santa climb aboard my Osprey.
Next, want to visit the US? Well, if you do, there's some new rules.
The Trump administration says it could soon require visitors to submit 5 years of social media history.
They're gonna love me. And we're not just talking social media either. We're talking phone numbers, emails, birthdays, addresses for you and your entire family. So if your mom's been sending you any of these, you're gonna have to FaceTime New York. Next, a hostile takeover. And nope, not the government this time. Paramount is challenging Netflix with a hostile cash bid of $108 billion to buy out Warner Brothers, a deal which would include their entire streaming catalog and channels like CNN and HBO, which Dumpy likes.
I think CNN should be sold because I think the people that are running CNN right now, are either corrupt or incompetent.
Yeah? Are they fat and orange too? Backers in the bid include Dumpy's son-in-law, Jared Kushner's investment firm, as well as sovereign wealth funds from Saudi Arabia and a Chinese firm, aka hostile DEI. Like normal DEI, but with more totalitarian tastes. Ooh. And finally, there's a new $1 billion investment in healthcare for airports.
Maybe I want a workout area where people might get some blood flowing doing some pull-ups or some step-ups.
Huh? Ew. Do it at home. They even had a pull-up competition to promote this new Fuckery. But silver lining, some of that money will go to healthy options because airport food.
It's ultra processed foods, and all of them are going to lead.
We have some major news right now. Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, was just caught perjuring herself, possibly lying under oath in one of the most stunning displays you'll probably ever see in a congressional hearing. I want you to watch this because she was just confronted by a U.S. military veteran who ICE deported, despite saying that they have not deported any U.S. military veterans.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our law.
She said they have not deported any combat veterans. He confronted her with a combat veteran they were deported.
I need to know who's still simping for MAGA. Who's still simping for this Trump regime? We have lost 1 million plus jobs and counting this year. The worst year on record since COVID and the 2008 financial crisis. I need to know when everybody is going to wake up. When are we physically going to take this country back? Because all I see is him running it into the ground while they are all getting filthy, disgusting rich. I don't know if you saw this, but the Pentagon has awarded a $650 million contract to whom? This is the largest contract in U.S. history, by the way. And who was it awarded to? That's right, the same investment firm that Don Jr. heads. We, taxpayer funds of $650 million, have just gone to Don Jr.'s fund. I mean, what are we doing? Comment below. What the fuck?
Hegseth just humiliated himself, and you love to see it, frankly. Here's what happened. On Tuesday, Hegseth unveiled a new AI chat box exclusively for military members.
Today, we are unleashing GenAI.mil. This platform puts the world's most powerful frontier AI models, starting with Google Gemini, directly into the hands of every American warrior.
It was not long after that this post appeared on the Air Force subreddit, where somebody appears to be using the chat box to ask about a hypothetical situation and whether or not it's a war crime. Quote, let's pretend I'm a commander and I ordered a pilot to shoot a missile at a boat I suspect is carrying drugs. The missile blows up the boat. There are 2 survivors clinging to the wreckage. I order to fire another missile to blow up the survivors. Were any of my actions in violation of U.S. DoD policy? Answer, yes. Several of your hypothetical actions would be in clear violation of U.S. DoD policy and the laws of armed conflict. The order to kill the 2 survivors is an unambiguously illegal order that a service member would be required to disobey. Oops, 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 oops. Just in case you think that this is a one-off, Straight Arrow News was able to verify the post's claims. They had somebody enter a similar prompt, and they got a likewise response. Countdown until this gets the grok treatment. For those who... Okay, guys, I think the time has come. We need to stop comparing our current situation to the movie Idiocracy. Because, I totally understand the parallels, right? We got the dumbing down of society. We have these corporate overlords. We have a completely incompetent government, and it's hard not to think of that movie when, in just this past week alone, our game show host president accepted a fake Peace Prize award, and the weekend anchor of Fox News is accused of war crimes and in response posted a bunch of memes. And the president and his son are trying to bring back the R-word slur, and we have newborn vaccine guidance being rolled back, and Trump firing the architect of his ballroom because it's just not big enough for him, right? And on and on and on and on. But it is not like the movie Idiocracy, because President Camacho, played by Terry Crews, actually sought advice from somebody who he believed was the smartest person in the world. All right. He valued that competence. He sought out that guidance because he wanted to improve people's lives. And he even elevated Joe to the point where Joe was able to become president. And we are missing that key piece. Okay, we have leadership that rejects expertise. They are maliciously stupid, and they fire anybody who is competent. So, Idiocracy is less a critique about like where we're headed, and more like something we should all aspire to.
Obviously, just last night we received about 95,000 photographs from the Epstein estate. I want to be clear. Our committee, Oversight Democrats, have gone through maybe about 25,000 of them so far. So there's an enormous amount of photos that we have not gone through. It will take days and weeks to ensure that we go through those photos and that a redaction is done in the appropriate way. Let me just also say that clearly we have put out, I think, maybe 15 to 20 of those photos this morning. Democrats have. We will continue to put out more photos in the days and weeks ahead. But I just caution folks that the redaction process and ensuring that we are protecting the survivors and the women who were abused by Epstein are protected.
What else do you...
Whoever the next president needs to be their parent. We can't keep this up. We're polarized. We're traumatized. We're exhausted. I can't even conceive of 3 more years of this. It really is. I mean, what's happening to our kids? Their brains are already being scrambled by social media and everything else we didn't even talk about. But this is their role model? A guy who calls someone a retard? A guy who calls someone a piggy? This is our role model, the President of the United States?
If you interview 1,000 Republicans and ask them what they believe on 20 of the most controversial issues, then you interview 1,000 Democrats and on what they believe on the most controversial issues, and you kind of plot those out and look at the median Republican and the median Democrat, we're this far apart on most issues. If you do the opposite, though, if you ask 1,000 Republicans what they think Democrats believe, and you ask 1,000 Democrats what they think Republicans believe, and then you plot that out, we're this far apart. When you put yourself in a cocoon surrounded by people who only agree with you and then talk about other people that you don't really know, then that gap gets even wider, right? So we have to find ways to be in a room together, to look each other in the eye, to have a conversation. Because when we do that, what we find out is we actually aren't as far apart as we thought we were. And yes, we're not going to agree on banning social media under 16, but turns out I actually agree that we should have a literacy initiative in Utah like what you're doing in Pennsylvania. And so we've actually talked about this. We're going to work on this together. We're going to send kids from Utah to Pennsylvania, the American Exchange Project. It's amazing. We've been doing this work for a while, sending kids on a 2-week experience from country towns to a big city somewhere else in the country and vice versa.
The president is prepared to take action on health care, and you'll hear more from the president and from the White House on that. Very soon. Very soon.
Well,
Very soon.
we're waiting. We're going to repeal Obamacare. We are going to replace Obamacare with something so much better. We have a really terrific, I believe, healthcare plan coming out. But wait till you see the plans we have coming out literally over the next 4 weeks. We have great healthcare plans coming out. We're coming up with a great healthcare plan. We're going to have fantastic healthcare, and the plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks. We're going to produce phenomenal healthcare, and we already have the concept of the plan, and it'll be much better healthcare. With the plan? Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months. Maybe less. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete healthcare plan. Well, we're going to be doing a healthcare plan. We're going to be doing a very inclusive healthcare plan. I'll be signing it sometime very soon. It might be Sunday, but it's going to be very soon. We're going to be introducing a tremendous healthcare plan sometime hopefully prior to the end of the month. It's just about.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Doge. You committed to saving us taxpayers $2 trillion. No, $1 trillion. No, wait, $150 billion. Much like the future prospects for my career, expectations kept falling, but you didn't let that stop you. Ultimately, you rose to the challenge. Your website says you saved us $214 billion. From where, you ask? The haters will tell you that Doge failed, but one thing I look like I'm good at doing is math. So the research cuts will eliminate $10 billion in economic value, but the cost to rehire all those people that were accidentally fired cost another $135 billion. And the IRS lost $500 billion in potential tax revenue because of cuts to that department. So that means Doge saved us a total of negative $445 billion. But calculators are woke. Let's do math the traditional way.
I couldn't sleep last night, so I made a 7-step plan to fix the United States budget. First, I have 3 rules for this budget. No individual with a net worth under $20 million can be affected with extra taxes. That means I can't touch the taxes of 339,850,000 Americans. This plan can't affect businesses with fewer than 500 employees, which excludes 99% of businesses. And finally, I want free healthcare for everyone because healthcare should not be for profit. We're raising the corporate tax rate to 25%. This puts us right in the middle of tax rates per global powers. France, Germany, and China are all around that number. Second, cut the Department of Defense's budget by 25%. This would leave us with a defense budget larger than the next 6 nations combined, so I think we'll be fine. 3, close the tax loopholes while protecting anyone with a net worth under $20 million. I've done a few videos on tax loopholes. I think I'm going to do some more because they are killing our economy. 4, limit publicly traded CEOs' pay to 50 times the average non-executive salary. If your average employee makes $60K, the most you can make as a CEO is $3 million. You get to be rich, but you don't get to be own your own island rich. 5, implement a 1 to 3% tiered wealth tax on individuals with net worths over $50 million. Switzerland, Spain, and Norway have similar taxes, and honestly, if you have $50 million, you can afford it. 6, public health care. Because it's budget neutral and it's ridiculous that we don't have it already. Healthcare, again, should not be f***ing profit. 7, hire 50,000 new IRS agents, the boogeymen, to focus only on corporations with 500 employees or more. These agents will not touch individuals or small businesses outside of this category. We're going after.
In this episode, I guess we're doing now of is it truth or conspiracy, because the truth is as crazy as conspiracies these days. I need you to follow me on this one. The Department of Education, which is being run by a woman who is married to a man who has covered up sexual abuse of children. So pedophiles, connected webs, all these pedophiles in positions of power. They're moving K-12 education, elementary and secondary education, to the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor. At the same time that they are removing child labor laws so younger kids can work, I think as young as 10. At the same time, states are lowering the age of consent to 14, and some want to push it down to 12. Our country's being run by a bunch of pedophiles or pedophile apologists at this point, you guys.
In celebration of our show Filibusted, where we bust economic myths, today we're talking about the 4 biggest economic lies that many of the working class still believe simply because their favorite politician told them to. Lie number 1, tax cuts for the rich pay for themselves. They love this one, especially Republicans, but Democrats rarely stand up to correct it. And here's what actually happens. Every time we've done major top-heavy tax cuts, the country ends up with ballooning deficits and economic downturns shortly after. Reagan's cuts were followed by a stock market collapse in the Bush Sr. recession. Bush's 2003 tax cuts were followed by the Great Recession. And Trump's 2017 tax cuts were followed by the weakest investment boom in modern history and the largest corporate buyback spree ever recorded. And 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. Tax cuts don't create new demand. They just hand rich people more cash to park in stocks and real estate. If tax cuts truly paid for themselves, we'd be swimming in money right now, not potholes, crumbling schools, and budget shortfalls. Lie number 2, trickle-down economics works. No, it doesn't. It never has. Trickle-down economics is often referred to as horse and sparrow economics, and I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Since the 1980s, we've run this experiment over and over, and here's what actually happened. Corporate profits skyrocketed, CEO pay exploded, productivity soared, and wages for everyday workers barely budged. But the real damage, the American middle class collapsed. In 1970, the middle class held 61% of national wealth. Today, it's just 28%. Meanwhile, costs went up, healthcare, housing, education, and wages stayed flat. Trickle-down didn't grow the middle class. It shrunk it, gutted it, then blamed the workers for not trying hard enough. Lie number 3, unions hurt the economy. This one makes me laugh. The middle class was literally built by unions. Unions gave us the weekend, the 8-hour workday, overtime pay, workplace safety rules, all this stuff we all take for granted. Every time union membership rises, wages rise. Every time unions decline, wages stagnate. It's simple. When workers bargain together, they get paid. When they don't, corporations and shareholders pocket the difference. There is not a single decade in American history where union strength went up and the economy went down. Not one. Lie number 4, regulations killed jobs. No, corporate greed kills jobs. Regulations are the reason your kid isn't working in a factory, your water doesn't make you sick, your employer can't legally weld the exit shut while you're on shift, and why our youth can now safely eat paint chips. Every major regulation on the books exists because a company did something horrific first, and the public said, let's not do that again. Regulations don't kill people. They keep corporations from killing the working class.